Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're embarking on a journey, really getting into the weeds of ancient monastic rules. Specifically, a section from the Bhikkhuni Vibhanga that's the code of conduct for Buddhist nuns.
That's right.
Our mission is to unpack one particular rule, Saṃghādisesa, 6, to understand, well, not just what it says, but why such a detailed regulation was even needed.
And what's really fascinating here, I think, is how a seemingly simple interaction can spiral into this meticulously structured, almost legal framework within a monastic community.
Right.
We'll explore the context, the kind of surprising implications, and the penalties, which are layered in a really interesting way. Get ready for some unexpected insights into a world very different from ours.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our story begins in Savatthi, specifically in the Jetavana Monastery on Anathapita's Arama. That's a pretty significant setting in early Buddhist history.
Oh, absolutely. Very natural. And here we meet Sundarīnandā Bhikkhuni. The text describes her as apirpa dasaniya pasadika, meaning beautiful, pleasant to see, and inspiring confidence. Basically, she had a notable presence.
And this detail about her appearance, you're saying it's important.
It's crucial, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it really sets the stage for the specific challenge she encounters. It highlights how these, well, external factors can intersect directly with monastic discipline. It's not just about internal state.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. When men at mealtime, the text says, Manusa Bhattaga, saw Sundarīnandā, they became avasuta.
Avasuta.
Now, avasuta, that means lustful or aroused.
Correct, that's the understanding, yes.
Lustful. And because of this state they were in, they offered her agamagani pojani, like prime, really excellent food, the best stuff. But Sundarīnandā, she was kukukayan. She was hesitating, feeling scruples about it.
Right.
And she refused to accept the offerings.
And this raises a key question straight away. Why the hesitation? What was her specific concern? The text tells us she identifies that the men were avasuta.
He knew.
She knew. She perceived their state of mind. And this awareness, as we'll see, is absolutely central to the whole rule that develops from this incident.
Okay, so she refuses. Then another bhikkhuni steps in. She sees this happening and asks Sundarīnandā, why won't you accept the food? Sundarīnandā explains plainly, avasuto aye. The men are lustful, sister.
Simple statement of fact, as she perceived it.
Then this other bhikkhuni asks a critical question. Is Sundarīnandā herself lustful?
Right, shifting the focus.
To which Sundarīnandā replies, Naha avasuta. No, I'm not lustful. And this is what leads to the pivotal statement from the second bhikkhuni, the one that really forms the core of the rule we're looking at.
Exactly. The other bhikkhuni's response is where the transgression occurs. She says, and I'll give a sort of functional translation here.
Please.
Kinte aye so purisa puga lokarisate avasuto fa navasuto vaya to try navasuta. Basically, what does it matter to you, sister, if that man is lustful or not, since you yourself are not lustful?
Wow, okay.
And then she continues, Il. Aye yate eso purisa puga lo de ti, hadanya vavojanya, vate sahata padyata faka, babunya vate. Which means, go ahead. Take with your own hand whatever food or drink he gives you and eat or consume it.
So the advice is basically, it doesn't matter what he's thinking, only what you're thinking. Just take the food.
Precisely. It completely dismisses the donor's state of mind, focusing entirely on the recipient's perceived inner purity. It sounds almost practical, but it misses a crucial ethical dimension in the monastic context.
So what happens next? How did the community react to this advice?
Well, other bhikkhunis, the text describes them as apicha, which can mean those of few desires, or maybe those inclined to find fault, those upholding standards.
Right, the vigilant ones.
Kind of. They censured this statement. They were clearly troubled by this kind of advice being given out. And as often happens in these narratives, the whole issue eventually reached the Buddha.
And the Buddha's reaction.
He rebuked the bhikkhuni who gave the advice. Strongly. This wasn't just a casual disagreement.
So it was a serious telling off.
Oh, yes. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really underscores how vital it was to maintain proper conduct and the perception of proper conduct within the Sangha, the community. This incident, this rebuke, it wasn't just left there. It became the direct catalyst for formalizing this rule, Saṃghādisesa, 6, a very serious disciplinary rule.
So let's break down that rule, Saṃghādisesa 6. It states that if a bhikkhuni gives precisely that advice, what does it matter if he's lustful or not, just take the food by hand and eat it, she incurs. What was it? Bahamapatika damai and anisaranyad Saṃghādisesa. Can you unpack those terms for us?
Sure. So Saṃghādisesa is a category of major offense in the Vinaya, the monastic code. It's second only in seriousness to parajika.
And parajika means?
Parajika means defeat, essentially. It results in automatic, permanent expulsion from the monastic order. No coming back.
Okay, so Saṃghādisesa is just one step below that. Pretty serious.
Extremely serious. And Nisarnya basically means requiring suspension or expellable. It indicates the gravity. But what's truly fascinating and shows the meticulousness of this legal system is how the offense itself is broken down into progressive stages of culpability. It's not just one act.
Stages. Okay, tell us about those.
Right. So stage one, just the act of encouraging or instigating the pali is uyojeti, another bhikkhuni, to accept the food under these circumstances. That itself incurs a dukkha.
Which is?
A dukkha is a minor offense, a wrongdoing, but lighter.
Okay. Stage one, encouraging. Minor offense. What's next?
Stage two, if the other bhikkhuni, the one being advised, actually accepts the food with the intention to eat or drink it based on that specific advice, well, the advising bhikkhuni incurs another dukkha.
So 2 minor offenses just for the advice and the acceptance based on it.
Correct. Now, stage 3 is where it really escalates for ajohar ajhore. This means for each mouthful that the other nun consumes.
Each mouthful. Seriously.
Each mouthful. For every single one, the advising bhikkhuni incurs a tulakaya.
And tulakaya is?
A serious offense. Grave, definitely more severe than dukkha, but it's still not the full Saṃghādisesa yet.
Wow. Okay, so encouraging is minor, acceptance is minor, each bite is serious. What triggers the big one? The Saṃghādisa.
Stage 4, Vajanapartiyo Sane. Upon the completion of the meal, when the last mouthful is finished. At that point, the bhikkhuni who gave the initial advice incurs the full Saṃghādisesa offense.
That progression is incredible. From the word to the acceptance to each bite and then the whole meal. It's such a clear escalation of culpability, almost like compounding interest on the offense.
It is remarkably precise. It reflects, I think, a very deep concern for the entire sequence of actions, the intention behind them, and how one step enables the next in a way that's seen as increasingly harmful to the monastic integrity.
So it's not just about the final act, but the whole process.
Exactly. And the rule isn't just limited to, say, a full meal. The text specifies it also applies to udadantapu.
Meaning water and toothsticks, like for cleaning teeth.
Yes, water and toothsticks. Even accepting those items under these conditions falls under this rule structure, though perhaps the full Saṃghādisesa might only apply if it constitutes a meal equivalent, but the principle holds. It's about the interaction.
Okay, this next bit from the text really surprised me. It says the rule also applies if the lustful donor is a yaka, a peta, a pataka, or even a tiratanagata manusavigahasa.
Let's break those down. Yakas are like nature spirits, sometimes benevolent, sometimes fierce. Petas are often translated as hungry ghosts. Petasas are generally understood as individuals with indeterminate sex or hermaphrodites in this context.
And the last one, Tirachanagata Manusa Vigahasa.
That translates roughly to a human being in the form of an animal, or an animal-bodied human. Think mythical beings, maybe shapeshifters, or perhaps just emphasizing the principle applies regardless of physical form.
So we're talking about potentially non-human, spectral, or unusually embodied donors here, not just people.
Absolutely. And this truly highlights the core principle, doesn't it? It's not about the type of being offering the food. It's about the donor's state of lustful intention, regardless of their form or nature.
Right.
And it's about the unsuitability, the danger of encouraging a fellow monastic to disregard that lustful state. It really emphasizes maintaining purity and proper boundaries in absolutely all interactions that could involve such unwholesome states.
So given how incredibly specific and frankly wide-ranging this rule is, are there any outs, any exceptions where this wouldn't apply? The text usually provides some anapati, right? No offense clauses.
Yes, the code is generally quite nuanced, not just a blanket prohibition. There are specific exceptions. For instance, there's no offense if the bhikkhuni giving the advice knows for a fact that the donor is not lustful.
Ah, okay, so if she says, go ahead, take it, knowing the donor is fine, then it's okay.
Exactly. The Pali is anavasuto tijante uyojeti. Knowing he is not lustful, she encourages. This really zeroes in on the fact that the offense lies in consciously dismissing the known or reasonably perceived lustful intent of the donor. It's about the advisor's knowledge and intent, too.
What about the nun who's refusing, like Sundarīnandā in the story? What if she refused for reasons other than the donor's lust?
That's covered, too. There's no offense for the advisor if the receiving nun refuses because she's angry, Kupitanapaganchati uyujati.
So if she's just mad at the donor for some reason and the advisor says, oh, just take it, that's not the specific offense we're talking about.
Correct. Or, another exception, if the nun refuses out of compassion for the donor's family, Kuranodayatayanapaganchiti uyujati, maybe she feels taking the food would unduly burden them.
Interesting. So motivations matter greatly.
They do. And there are a couple more standard exceptions. No offense if the advising bhikkhuni is considered insane, umatikaya. There's a recognition of mental state.
Okay, that makes sense.
And also, interestingly, no offense if she is the adhikamikaya, the very first person to commit this specific type of offense, the one who originated the action that led to the rule being created in the first place.
Ah, so the nun in the original story who gave the bad advice wouldn't technically be guilty under the rule she caused to be made.
In essence, yes. There's a sort of patient zero exemption for the initial case that establishes the precedent. It shows a certain legal logic, recognizing that the rule didn't exist before her action prompted its creation.
This whole deep dive has just revealed such unexpected complexity within what seemed like a single, maybe straightforward monastic rule. It's clearly far more than just, don't take food from creaky people.
Absolutely. It's really about upholding a very specific standard of interaction, of intention, and critically, of community perception and integrity. The implications reach quite deep. And what really stands out is how these incredibly detailed code, these Vinaya rules, function as a mirror reflecting the society's values, or at least the monastic community's values. You see the immense effort invested in establishing clear, unambiguous boundaries for conduct.
To protect the community and the teachings.
Exactly. It's a testament to the meticulous, almost microscopic thought put into preserving the integrity of the Sangha and the Dharma, even against these subtle internal challenges related to things like intention and perception.
So what does this all mean for you listening to this? This ancient text, Saṃghādisesa 6, it isn't just some dusty historical document. It really offers profound insights, I think, into how rules get crafted to manage human behavior, especially tackling those tricky, subtle nuances of intention and perception. It really makes you think about the power, the ripple effect of seemingly small actions and words, especially within any kind of community with shared values, then and now.
And it definitely raises a further question for reflection, doesn't it? How do these kinds of hyper-precise rules, the ones that seem focused on almost microscopic details of conduct, how do they actually contribute to fostering a larger ethical and spiritual framework?
Right. Is it the precision itself that helps, or
does it risk becoming mere legalism? And perhaps more broadly, what does this whole story tell us about the ongoing challenge, the inherent difficulty of upholding any demanding ethical framework within any community? Whether that's an ancient Buddhist monastery or, a modern organization, or even just our personal lives today.
A lot to think about there, that constant tension between principle and practice.
Indeed.